It started with a knock on my door and a slip of paper shoved into my mailbox. The HOA president, Karen herself, strutted down the sidewalk like she had just saved the neighborhood from destruction. The letter said I had 30 days to fix my garden or pay a fine of $5,000. According to them, my roses were overgrown, my cobblestone pathway was outdated, and my hand-built wooden fence was an eyesore. But here's the truth, this garden wasn't just some messy patch of dirt. It was my grandfather's legacy. He had planted rare heirloom roses, antique fruit trees, and even imported stones from Europe for the walkway. Every piece of it had history. And now, the HOA was calling it ugly. I felt my blood boil. But instead of arguing right away, I decided to stay quiet, because I had a plan. The next HOA meeting was nothing short of humiliating. Karen stood in front of the crowd with a projector, showing pictures of my property like it was a criminal case. "Look at this," she sneered. "This is not the image our neighborhood should project. Buyers will run if they see this old mess." Some neighbors nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. I raised my hand and said, calmly, "This garden is over 100 years old. My family has maintained it for generations. It's not messy. It's historic." Karen smirked and replied, "Historic? This is suburbia, not a museum. Fix it, or pay the fine." That was the moment I knew, she had no idea who she was messing with. The very next morning, I went to City Hall with a binder full of documents. Photographs of my grandfather building the stone path in the 1920s. Newspaper clippings about his rare rose cultivars. And letters from the local historical society praising the garden's preservation. The city official raised his eyebrows as he flipped through my papers. "Do you realize what you have here?" he asked. "This isn't just a garden. This is a living piece of history. If you apply, it could qualify as a protected landmark." Protected meant untouchable. Protected meant the HOA couldn't demand changes. Protected meant I could finally turn the tables. I filed the application on the spot. 2 weeks later, city representatives and members of the Historical Society showed up, clipboards, cameras, and all. Karen stormed over, furious. "What is going on here?" she demanded. The city inspector replied, "We're here to evaluate this property for historical preservation." Karen's jaw nearly hit the ground. She sputtered, "This is outrageous. It's just weeds and rocks." But when the city finished their inspection, the verdict was clear. The roses were rare hybrids nearly extinct. The stone path was over a century old. The entire layout matched photographs archived in the town's historical museum. That evening, I got the official notice. My garden had been declared a historic landmark valued at $500,000. The next HOA meeting was pure theater. Karen tried to bring up my $5,000 fine again, but the city official stood and interrupted her. "Actually, this property is now legally protected. Any attempt by the HOA to alter, fine, or interfere with it could result in a lawsuit, and trust me, you'd lose." The room went silent. Some neighbors clapped. Others laughed quietly. Karen's face turned beet red. She had gone from calling my garden an eyesore to realizing it was now worth more than her entire house. I leaned back in my chair, smiled, and said, "Funny how history works, isn't it?" From that day forward, the HOA never bothered me again. And Karen? She had to drive past my nationally recognized garden every single day, forced to admire the very thing she once tried to destroy.